The sounds of gunfire ringing out in Freetown, Sierra Leone. That was in November 2023. The gunmen broke into a military barrack close to the presidential palace. They ransacked the armory. They also broke into several prisons in Freetown, liberating about 2,000 prisoners. So a military coup happened in Sierra Leone, but the coup couldn't become a revolution because it failed. That's why it's called an attempted coup. Unlike the successful military coup that happened in Niger Republic a few months earlier, that one has become a revolution. Before we see the hypocrisies of ECOWAS leaders and other differences, let's see the background story of what is happening in Sierra Leone. The attempted coup of 26th November in Sierra Leone might be linked to the flawed, controversial presidential election that was held in June 2023. And of course, the opposition refused to recognize the results of the election, and maybe because the bodyguard of the former Sierra Leonean president, Koroma, was involved in the attempted coup, the government roped him in on the charges. In fact, he's been under house arrest since he was questioned by the authorities about the coup. Or do they have any other intelligence linking Koroma to the coup attempt? Did any of the participants testify against him? These are the questions for the government to answer, and the fact that they arraigned Koroma in a magistrate court speaks volumes, because a magistrate court doesn't have jurisdiction over treasonable felonies or other offenses related to a military coup, unless the magistrate court will just hear the matter like they did and move the matter to a high court that has jurisdiction. Sierra Leone operates the common law system, so it doesn't look like the Sierra Leonean magistrate court has jurisdiction. Anyway, this just points to the fact that the government might not have enough evidence to nail Koroma. If they did, they should have gone straight to the High Court and demanded a quick trial. Whether it is a trumped-up charge against Koroma by the government or whether they have evidence, it is still a judicial process. The judicial officers should be allowed to look at the evidence of the government to find out if Koroma was truly involved in trying to take over power violently, or if he is innocent. They are all part of the democratic process, and attempted coup is a serious felony. That's why the ECOWAS leaders should allow the Sierra Leonean judiciary to prove themselves, so that the world will see where their loyalty lies, whether it is to the current president, Julius Bio, or to the Sierra Leonean constitution. Yes, there's no other way to deepen democracy without testing different institutions of state and arms of government. All stakeholders must do the right thing to uphold democracy. It is not the responsibility of the opposition alone to be law-abiding in Sierra Leone or in any other democratic country. A few months ago, the Nigerian judiciary was put to the test after the opposition contested the flawed and rigged presidential election. They failed the test woefully and proved that they are even more corrupt than the politicians they ruled in their favor. That's why it is surprising that Tinubu, who was at the forefront of condemning the military coup in Niger, at the time he was seriously fighting for legitimacy, he called on Brigadier General Chiani of Niger to reinstate the former president Mohamed Bazoum to power. Up till now, Niger Republic is still under sanctions imposed by ECOWAS. So what changed? Why does he want to extradite Koroma to Nigeria? Why the double standards? Is there any difference between his attempted coup in Sierra Leone and the military coup in Niger? Yes, it's not yet proven that he committed treason, but why not wait for the court to prove it?
And if he deserves respect and wants respect, he for come out for hide behind his finger when they pay people for the court.
It was very obvious that Tinubu's outbursts when the military took power in Niger was because of his friend, the French president Emmanuel Macron. It was never about democracy. France being the ultimate loser in Niger, they lost their influence, they lost their military base, and finally they've closed down their embassy in Niger Republic. At the time, Tinubu portrayed himself as a Democrat with Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire, two men who their names shouldn't be written in the same sentence with democracy. Tinubu emerged through a flawed and rigged election. He hijacked the whole process, including the judiciary, of course. Alassane Ouattara amended the Cote d'Ivoire constitution in order to enjoy a third term in office like other sit-tight rulers in Africa. So the question now is, Why are they seeking the extradition of Ernest Koroma to Nigeria, someone that is accused of a coup attempt? Yes, they are all involved because Tinubu made the request through ECOWAS. That request was denied by the Sierra Leonean government. So you can see the similarities here. Presidential election was held in Nigeria and Sierra Leone. Both of them were flawed and rigged in favor of the governing party. International observers condemned both presidential elections. 5 months after the presidential election in Sierra Leone, some military boys struck in what is now a failed military coup. In Nigeria, a military coup attempt didn't happen. What happened can be called a judicial coup because the governing party, having captured the state, they used the judiciary to uphold the rigged election results. So it's very funny that a beneficiary of a rigged election in Nigeria is trying to convince a fellow beneficiary of rigged election in Sierra Leone to accept a political resolution of a judicial process. It is better for Ernest Koroma to stay in his home country, Sierra Leone, and fight for his people. He is a former president. Why should he be afraid of any intimidation? He should stay in his country, the same way the likes of Olusegun Obasanjo are living in Nigeria, contributing their part to the promotion of democracy. Even before Obasanjo became a civilian president in 1999, he opposed Abacha, the military dictator in the 90s. He nearly paid with his life. He's still very much active today. The other day he told Nigerian youths to take over power, that they should be in leadership positions, not in the future, but today. So there's no reason for Ernest Koroma to go on exile. He should prove his innocence in court. Even if they jail him despite his innocence, international pressure will mount on the Sierra Leonean president. ECOWAS should also sanction him if they truly promote democracy. That's if the likes of Tinubu and Ouattara will do it.
Most of the leaders have been arrested. Security operations and investigations are ongoing. We will ensure that those responsible are held accountable.
So in simple terms, he should just stay in his country and fight like the opposition are doing in Nigeria. Tinubu and his party, the APC, which shares the same abbreviation as Koroma's All People's Congress, they felt that after the election and judicial heist that the opposition will simply give up, and maybe their leaders might even go on exile, so that they will have the opportunity to complete the state capture by turning Nigeria to a one-party state. But that's not the case. For the first time, Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president and leader of opposition party PDP, has been in Nigeria far longer after an election, unlike other times. After 2019 presidential election, he quickly flew back to his holiday home in Dubai. This time around, he has remained in Nigeria. What about the main opposition leader, Peter Obi of the Labour Party? The man who no one gave a chance, but he ended up winning Abuja, Nigeria's political capital, Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital, and other major cities across Nigeria. The man who truly won the election, but the powers that be stole it from him. So they are all in Nigeria doing the job of opposition.
But all over, they don't overpower the police as soon as they see when they retreat. The people, they don't come out. They don't come out.
Times have changed. Africans must stay in their countries and fight their oppressors. Fight their brothers who colonized them. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers fought foreign colonizers in Africa till they gave us independence and left. Now, Africans are faced with new colonizers who are unfortunately their own brothers. They are of the same race, ethnicity, complexion. They all look alike. Africans fought foreign colonizers. Why shouldn't we fight fellow brothers who steal everything and live in flamboyance right in our faces? We should fight them with everything at our disposal. This kind of fight can't be done outside the country. You must be in your country. You must tell them to their faces the wrongs they are doing. The time is now, not tomorrow. Thanks for watching.